Hello everybody, Billy here. I'm back for episode 2 of the Wiccanarium. So today I thought that we would talk about ritual tools. So let me go ahead and turn you around. I got my hoodie on because here in Central Texas, it's actually down in the lower 60s, upper 50s. So it's kind of chilly for Texas. Anyway, let me turn you around. All right, well, I still don't have any subscribers to the Wiccanarium YouTube channel yet. I'm hoping that will change soon. I'm not really doing this channel for me, per se. I mean, I get, satisfaction and enjoyment of sharing my knowledge of Wicca with whoever wants to watch it and subscribe to it. But I'm doing this for you guys. I'm not doing this for me. I am relearning a lot of things that I have forgotten since I first started Wicca, which is why I'm taking courses at the Magical Circle School online, excuse me. But so in this episode, I wanted to talk about ritual tools, because it's something that I've read in books and everything, but I've never really seen the listings that they go through in the book personalized. So I kind of wanted to give a rundown of ritual tools and kind of what I use, what I don't use, and kind of why. Because ritual tools, like everything in Wicca, is very personal. The tools that you use are tools that speak to you on a spiritual level, metaphorically, and energetically. So a rundown of the basic tools of Wicca, ritual tools, is an Athame, which is a ritual knife. Does not have to be sharp, because you will not be using it for cutting. It's used for directing personal energy. Then you have a bowline, which is another knife, but it is sharp and it is used for cutting. So you never use an Athame to cut anything. It's used for directing personal energy. So, depending on your tradition, you can have a sword to do much the same thing as an Athame, or a wand to do the exact same thing. Those are the tools used for directing energy, personal energy. For casting the sacred circle, or well, it's not just personal energy. Okay, let me rephrase that. For casting the circle, you're using divine energy. You're channeling from energy from the moon or the sun or the cosmos into creating your sacred space. But there is also an element of personal energy as well. But the personal energy comes into your spell work or your ritual work. So we'll kind of go into that a little later when I run down what I use. Hold on, my cigarette went out. Okay, those barking dogs. They've actually busted a hole in the bottom of one of the planks of the fence. Oh, well, there's somebody out there kind of minding them, so maybe they'll stop barking. So you have your Athame and your wand or your sword, depending on your tradition or your preferences. Next is, I also covered the Voline, but you also have an incense holder with incense. You have a bowl of salt and a bowl of water. You have 2 candles, one for the god and one for the goddess, and they are different colors, usually like white or silver for the goddess, and yellow or gold for the god. And of course you have some sort of fire making implement, so you can light the incense and the candles, whether it be a lighter or matches. Some traditions will have you use a bell in your rituals, so that's another one of your tools. Some people use candle snuffers. Some people just use their fingers. They say you should never blow out your candles, because it doesn't dissipate. It can affect the whatever you're working on energetically if you blow them out. So you want to like lick your fingers and pinch it out, or use the candle snuffer. And for the reasons why, if you're more curious about that, you can read about that in several of your Wicca 101 books. The Scott Cunningham's A Guide to a Solitary Practitioner, the Raymond Buckland's Book of Witchcraft, and Silver Ravenwolf's books, to write a magical broomstick is, I think, her first one. But she also has others that are more advanced. Those are, and probably also a Spiral Dance, which I haven't actually read. A lot of older Wiccans, that was their first book in learning about Wicca. Not me. I started straight with I can't remember if I read Scott Cunningham's book first, or if I read Gerald Gardner's introduction, or Witchcraft Today. It might have been Gerald Gardner's book that I read first. I'm not sure. Yeah, like I said, it's been 35 years, you know. So far we have the Athame wand, sword, the bowline, the incense holder and incense, the candles, the lighting and snuffing methods. Okay, then you have the statuary or deity representations. It doesn't have to be a statue representation. It could be like I don't know, a seashell for the goddess and a pine cone for the god. Some sort of deity representation on your altar. I don't really have statuary at this point. I probably will at some point in the future. I'm still working on getting my altar set up because I am just kind of getting back into Wicca on a full-time basis. I've kind of, researched everything I can research with my spirituality, and it's kind of led me back to Wicca. So a lot of the tools I still have from before, like I have a wand and I have my Athame. I have my ritual table that was a gift from a pagan friend who she bought a little round three-legged table from like Walmart, and she painted it black with a pentagram on it, a white pentagram. So I'll show that to y'all later. But the legs unscrew so it can be broken down and stored. It's not really big, so it's good for minimalist places, where you don't have a lot of space. Actually, the picture on the banner of the Wiccanarium where I have my crystal ritual, that's the table I'm talking about. You can see part of it. You can't get the full view. It's round. But she did a very good job on it, and I love it. You also want to have some sort of like pinnacle on your desk, whether it's like a coaster type plate or some sort, or it can be like an altar cloth, or actually on the altar itself, like mine is painted on the altar. That's pretty well. And the last bit of ritual tool you will want is your Book of Shadows, which is basically a collection, a written account of your spiritual path in Wicca. It's personal to you. It can start with the basic beliefs of Wicca, a copy of the Wiccan Read, whether it's the short version or the long version, depending on which one you like best. The Charge of the Goddess, Charge of the God, whatever. Maybe the creation myth, whatever it is that you believe in. Because there are different variations of the creation myth, kind of the symbolic wheel of the year creation story that a lot of the Wiccan traditions have. From there, you can have a section on correspondences, colors, numbers, trees, crystals, stones, anything that has correspondence. Like this crystal is best and represents the West, or air, or whatever, And also in these books that you can find listings of correspondences. that you can put in your Book of Shadows. Then you want to have a section for rituals, whether it be a full moon ritual, a new moon ritual, Esbit, Sabbath, the holiday rituals, and then you have a section for spells. Like, I have one that I wrote because I'm a writer. It's a spell to banish writer's block. And basically you just write a spell and do it. And you keep a record or a listing of all of these spells. And they don't have to be made up by you. If you find one in a book that you like, use it. Personalize it however you see fit. But use it. If it speaks to you, then it's okay for you to use. You know, and unless, I don't know, I haven't ever seen anybody say this, but, you know, they may request that you not use their spells. That's something that they're kind of asking people to respect, and you should respect it. And also with the Wiccan Read and the Charge of the God and Goddess and everything, you might want to put the 13 goals of a witch, which I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. They're written in my Book of Shadows, which I will show y'all later, because I'm comfortable doing that. And also there was one other thing. 13 goals of a witch, and oh, what was it? Oh, the Wheel of the Year. You want to have the Wheel of the Year written out in there, the different holidays, Sabbats. And you also might want to, if you have a specific pantheon or groups of gods and goddesses that you work with, make a list of them. And I also have a section in my Book of Shadows for divination, the different techniques, like Norse runes, what each of the runes mean, the tarot deck, what each of the cards mean, and those can be specific to you as well. Not everybody reads tarot the same way. And there's the book version of what the cards mean, but divination is very intuitive, so it might mean something slightly different to you, or even all the way different to you, but that's how you read the cards. And you don't have to put all these things in your Book of Shadows, but if you feel it helps, then do it. I want to say there was something else I wanted to say about about Wicca. You know, the what is Wicca section of your Book of Shadows. And I don't remember what it is. But also, whether you want to put it in your Book of Shadows or keep it separate, you can have a dream journal. You can have a spell work journal on, you know, I performed this spell on this day at this time, blah, blah, blah. This is why I did it, and this is what happened. You know, kind of an accounting of your spell work and the results that were gained from it, or if nothing happened, record that, you know, or if you feel nothing happened or something else happened, then you'll record that, because it might be important later if you want to try that spell again. You might need to change a few things with the spell. Some other things to consider with ritual tools is your ritual attire, what you wear during ritual, whether it's a comfy pair of sweatpants and a baggy shirt that you feel comfortable with and you want to wear that every time you do a ritual. That can be your ritual garb, or you can do it sky-clad, as some traditions do, and not wear anything. Or you may want to wear a cloak with a hood or without, or something that makes it special to you, to get you in that mindset of, okay, this is a ritual. Me, I tend to, at this point, just I have a pair of baggy pants with laces at the ankle cuffs, and a baggy Renaissance style shirt, because I'm into Renaissance fairs, and I'm basically my pantheon is Celtic. So to me, it seems more fitting to wear that in ritual. And of course, I'm barefoot, and I wear some sort of talisman, a necklace, whether it's my Pinnacle or I have my quartz crystal arrowhead on a necklace, and I also have a necklace that I made from some charms that I bought at Joann Fabric. It's a copper plate on a piece of leather of a tree, and on one side I have a chromatic, a green chromatic colored crystal, and on the other side of it I have a blue chromatic colored crystal for the god and goddess, and I have them on their respective sides. So that is the ritual tools. If I've missed something and I remember it later, I will add it to the description of this video. Oh, cakes and ale. As part of your ritual, you basically take in food and drink, but you also save some to put out in nature to honor whatever's left over as a libation to the spirits or the guardians. But that's mainly for your full moon, new moon, and Sabbath rituals. I mean, there's other rituals that you can do, healing rituals, raising a cone of power, and all kinds of others that isn't considered spell work really, unless you're doing healing for a specific person. Then that can be a ritual, a healing ritual or healing spell. And it's up to you whether you consider it to be a ritual or a spell. But a spell is a type of ritual. So there's a fine line. You just got to kind of navigate it yourself on how it feels to you. Now, for my personal altar, I have my table. And of course the Pinnacle is painted on it. I have, and some of these tools I actually share with my wife. We have a we have an altar that we both use, kind of like a family altar, if you will, where we both have our ritual things on it. Because we do some rituals together, but I have my wand, and I also have my Athame, whatever knife I'm using at the time for a bowling. Those are personal to me because they require my specific energy, and they are for me. They're not for anybody else. And my wife has her own. Also, I forgot to mention with the Athame, the sword, the wand, you can also use a staff, kind of like a bit the sword version, like the sword is a bigger version of the Athame. The staff would be a larger form of the wand. Like my wife has a staff that she has feathers and seashells and everything on, and the staff itself is a piece of driftwood, because she's very beachy and being at the ocean type of person. But anyway, we have incense holders. I like using cone incense or stick incense. My wife likes using the resin based incense with the charcoal burners. I've never really liked those. And of course, when you're doing ritual or a spell, there's not one incense that you use. That's another thing you put in your correspondences, your incenses, your candle colors, what they mean and what they're for. You use that for your ritual and spell work. You find out which incense or which candle color that you need to use for that ritual or spell. But for a lot of the times we just use very generic tea light candles for spell work. And in the case of traveling altars, for the god and goddess candles. We may carve a GD and a GDS in the candles to kind of differentiate which is a god candle, which is a goddess candle, because they're the same color, same shape, same everything, you know. And it's, you don't have to do that, it's just a personal preference. Or carve a moon in one and a sun in the other, you know, whatever you'd like to do. So I don't have a candle snuffer. I tend to use my lighter to light the incense and candles. My wife does use a snuffer. I just wet my fingers and pinch it out. She likes to use a bell or finger cymbals because she likes belly dancing. And basically you use the bell to kind of set the mood of, okay, this is ritual. It alters your focus and energies to that ritual mode. It's kind of a grounding technique and a centering technique. And you can do that or not. It's a personal preference. I don't do it, she does. Then you have your Book of Shadows, which can either be on your altar or beneath it. depending on how big your altar is or how big your Book of Shadows is. Like mine's in a 2-inch ring binder right now. Although I have a like huge cardstock bound book that's covered in soft leather that just has blank pages. It's huge. That's eventually gonna be either a personal or family Book of Shadows. And family Book of Shadows are different from personal Book of Shadows because everything in the book has to be consensus. So what the family decides should be in the book. And there's a lot of voting in, voting out, and agreeing or agreeing to disagree type deal. And it's like having a coven Book of Shadows. Your coven Book of Shadows isn't going to be your personal Book of Shadows. In that instance, you can have 2 Book of Shadows. Trying to think if there's anything else. A lot of people, when they are going to do ritual or spell work, have sort of pre-ritual rituals that they do, like a ritual bath. Say you're getting ready to do a full moon ritual. Well, okay, you run your bath water, and you put, different salts or essential oils or flower petals or whatever in the water with you, and you lay back and you clean yourself, but you also meditate and prepare yourself mentally and spiritually for ritual. It's kind of a centering, grounding technique to prepare you for the ritual. And for those people who do not like taking baths and take showers, there's certain things you can do in the shower. You have artisan-made soaps from a witchy person to make you a full moon bath bar or something, or a full moon bath liquid soap, or something infused with certain essential oils that are for full moon rituals or whatnot, to use in the shower to kind of do the same thing that a ritual bath does. And I've never heard anybody else talk about ritual showers. So I've always heard of ritual baths. I've never heard of ritual showers, but it makes sense. I mean, some people do not like taking baths. They feel like you're sitting in your own filth. You're not getting clean. And it's a mental thing. It's not necessarily a hygienic thing. But, for some people, they do not take baths. And the ritual shower is the way to kind of substitute the ritual bath for something that they're comfortable with. Because if you're not comfortable getting in a bathtub to center yourself and ground yourself, you're not going to be centered or grounded when you're done, which kind of defeats the purpose of taking that ritual bath. So taking the ritual shower is the workaround. So there you go. You can get just as centered and whatnot in a shower as you can a bath. So there's my new contribution to preparing for ritual. I'm sure somebody else out there online or whatever has put something up on ritual showers. I've just never seen them. I mean, it can't be that obscure of a practice that I'm the only one that has thought of it. So there is that. So that's a basic rundown of ritual tools. I'm trying to think if there's any other ritual tools that I have that I didn't mention, but I don't think that there is. So the next part of this video will actually be me sitting down and showing y'all the different ritual tools that I use. And also my Book of Shadows. And I'll do another video in this Wiccanarium series specific to Book of Shadows. But I'll give you a basic show and tell of my Book of Shadows for this video. I won't go into depth. So, that being said, I will pull you out when I get back to the house. Oh, there was one thing that I forgot to mention, and it has to do with the ritual tools that I use, the wand and the Athame. I tend to use the wand to direct divine energy for like when I'm casting the sacred circle and banishing the sacred circle or grounding the sacred circle, because it's more elemental to me, and that's what I use to do that. But when I'm doing the parts of the ritual in between that, or when I'm doing spell work, I use my Athame, because that's what I use to direct personal energy. Because I'm putting my intention and my energy into the spell work, because it's personal to me. It's not divinely inspired, it's personally inspired. And my Athame is basically a stainless steel dagger with a hematite hilt and crossbar, and it has hand-painted inlays of bluebonnets, because we live in Texas. So, and when I bought that dagger, I didn't buy it as an Athame. It became my Athame. It came in a hardwood and glass case with a hinged lid that you could hang on the wall. So that's what I keep my Athame in. Although it has broken, I need to fix it. The wood parts of the box came undone, so I need to get some wood glue and whatever else, and I need to repair it eventually. It's been broken for years and I've not got around to it yet. Another thing that I wanted to touch on that I didn't say previous was, when you get your ritual tools, you want to cleanse them, because the gods know where they came from, even new, they can pick up energy of the people who handled them or made them or whatever, unless they were ritually made. But even then, you want to charge them yourself to have. So basically, you know what is in the ritual tool energetically. So basically, you cleanse them in incense and usually sage or lemongrass, and also salt water. You want to give them like a saltwater quote-unquote bath. I mean, you don't have to dunk them into the water. You can sprinkle it on it or whatever ritually, and that will cleanse it. And just kind of visualize any negative dark energies leaving the tool. And then you want to put them out somewhere on some sort of cloth or whatever in the full light of a full moon, and leave them there however long you think is required to charge them with divine energy. And the same thing with any talismans that you wear. Cleanse them and charge them, and then in a ritual, you can imbue that talisman with the intention and energies of whatever they're designed to do, whether it's for protection, for lucid dreaming if it's something that you sleep with, or astral traveling. But I don't recommend trying to astral travel without having some sort of in-person instruction, because that can be dangerous. And I won't go into the specifics right now. Just know that don't do it unless you've been trained by someone who is competent to do it. But it could also be talismans to like attract love, attract wealth, attract or repel or whatever. Like you can have a talisman that is protection, and it can encompass different kinds of protection, physical protection, spiritual protection, emotional protection. You need to define what type of protection that you want this talisman to protect you against, because physical protection from harm is different from protecting against psychic attack or psychic vampires or whatever. And those are real things. So you need to fully flesh out your intention for what you want your talisman to do before performing the ritual to imbue it with that power. So that being said, I wanted to make that distinction between my Athame and my wand, because I did say that I would let y'all know what my personal preferences were for ritual tools, and I already kind of laid it out for the candles and the incense. And another thing you can put in your book of shadows is recipes, whether it be for soap making, candle making, incense making, what else? Recipes for your cakes, recipes to make your own honey mead or other sort of ritual libations. And you can, it doesn't have to be just a straight recipe. You can put in your ritual elements as well. Like you brewed it with, say it's honey mead. You bought honey, you set it out in the light of the full moon and you cleansed it, you blessed it. Then you made your honey mead, and then you turn around and you can put no, I won't do that. That'll be another recipe that we'll cover a different thing. Crystal water, which is really cool, but that'll be a different episode. Yeah, have recipes and formulas and everything for things you make or cook or whatever in your Book of Shadows as well. It's another section you can put in your Book of Shadows. So that being said, I will go ahead and pull y'all back out when I get to the house. Okay, well, right now I can't find a lot of my ritual tools because we're still in the midst of unpacking a lot of stuff. We haven't really set much of anything up. But I did find a couple of things. So I'll show them to you right quick. Hold on. Okay, first and foremost is my wand. It's just a basic wooden wand. I think it's made out of ash, which has to do with creativity. So there is that. We have these plates that we can set at the four corners when we're casting rituals in a larger space. Each of the symbols represents one of the elements. So there's that. And it'll have like water. It'll have which one it's for at the bottom. Then there's the Pinnacle Plate. You see the, hold on. Let me move this out of the way right quick so you can see the, you can see the table I had made by my friend. It's got the moon phases and the tree and then the pinnacle. She did a really good job kind of making some lines go over other lines and making it look really well. I like it a lot. So whenever I'm working with sacred geometry, I use these. My wife got me these. And they're crystals, but they're the different Plutonic Solids. And each Plutonic Solid represents an element. And then you have the sphere, and you also have the Merkaba. So there's the four elements, and this is the fifth element, being spirit. So, oh, and there's one more in there that didn't dump out. I knew I was missing one. So here we go. there's the 5 Plutonic Solids. This one is Spirit. Okay. So I thoroughly love these. And then, let's see, here I have my Norse Runestones. Let's see if I can untie it. Hold on. They are made out of rose quartz, which is one of my birthstones. So they are personal to me, and I use them for divination. All right, here we go. And it's all the basic runestones, and it also has the crane bag runes. So, and it's all rose quartz. Okay. And let's see what else. I'm gonna put these up so I don't lose any of them. I'm trying to do this video before my wife gets home with my daughter. So we'll have some peace and quiet to do this because I'm doing it in the house. I couldn't find my Athame right now, or the little god and goddess statues. My wife uses them as well, so she may have them being used somewhere else. Let's see. All right, and then I have right here. Come on. I won't pull the whole deck out, but this is my which one is it? My Celtic Dragons deck. Tarot deck. And then I don't use that one too much. Hold on. Okay, let's see. Let me pull this other box out because I have one of my other decks in here, and of course I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, so I have a Lord of the Rings tarot deck. And oddly enough, it's also a card game. I don't know how that works. I've never played it, but I do love Lord of the Rings. So, and in here I have sprinkled some sage to kind of protect the decks energetically. Okay, and then I have my 2 newer decks that I use actively that I absolutely love. And this one, it's made by Denise Lynn, who is Native American, and she's put out a couple of different decks, but this is the Native Spirit Oracle deck. And of course I have the book. And just, the cards are immaculate. I love them. And they speak to me very clearly. It's very rare that they'll tell me something that I just don't get. And I use this more than I use this other tarot deck, but this is, there used to be the Greenwood tarot deck. Well, this is the updated new version of it called the Wildwood tarot deck. And it's got a bigger a bigger book. But that's the back of the cards. And then there's some of the different cards in this one. This one speaks to me pretty clearly as well. And I really thoroughly enjoy using them. Now, I'll do maybe a longer video at some other point that's dedicated to divination. I'm not really big into divination. I'm still kind of growing in that area. I don't feel things like other people do. I'm not that strongly. I am intuitive, but in different ways. And I'm slightly empathic, I think. But I need to focus and work on that better to understand it. I don't really understand those types of internal abilities yet. And then also I have a journal that I keep, and it's not a dream journal or anything. I mean, I can record my dreams in it. It's the only thing it's specific to is it's my path working journal. It's a journal of my spirituality. And this is my personal symbol that I've devised over the years. It's personal to me. But, you know, I come in here and, you know, I write and draw little pictures. And it's just basically a diary of my spiritual journey. And right now that's the only ritual tools or tools that I can lay hands on right now. I mean, there's other odds and ends. I mean, there's all kinds of stones and pine cones and, you know, different candle holders. I have that chest there. That also doubles as my Ren Fair chest. We have some drums. My wife sometimes uses this as an Athame, and this is a wand. This was a spell I did that I'm keeping the candle and the materials I used in the ritual on the altar. There's some chalices. There's a big amethyst stone, part of a geode, the bell that my wife likes to use. And then we have this like apothecary cabinet we actually picked up at a yard sale that we keep various things in, some candles in one of my wife's boxes. I had my boxes in here, and there's some stones and crystals over here. We have some herbs and like lemongrass and elderberry and stuff like that. And then, you know, there's nothing down there. Oh, shoot. It wasn't even recording. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all the tools I can lay hands on right now. Over here we have a lot of our pagan and Wiccan books. But that's not all of them. We're sorry, I'm covering the lens. We're still unpacking, so we still have boxes in here that we have a lot of our pagan books, Wiccan books. Then we have this like apothecary cabinet we keep some of our stuff in. You know, there's herbs and stuff down there. I got my crystals and stones in there. And that's where a lot of this stuff was. you know. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, I mean, if y'all have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them as best as I can. When it comes to ritual tools. So yeah, as always, hit the subscribe button, and these videos will populate your feed whenever I upload them. Go ahead, and if you found any value in these videos that I'm doing, any value in this channel, hit that like button, and go ahead and swipe that notification bell to be notified anytime I upload a new video. And as always, I have my PayPal and Cash App and everything. The Patreon, well, I don't have Patreon for this channel, but I have those links if you feel like contributing for this channel. Please do, but totally up to you. We will see you next time. Bye.